So here I will show the bhakta, how the bhakta is calling. Like so, Krishna ni bekani paru, calling out to the Lord. Now Yashoda is calling out to Krishna. Krishna ni begani baru. Another version where where Radha is calling out to Krishna. Krishna ni begani baru. So she expects him to put the hook of that mala around. And Gopa, or Krishna's friend, Krishna ni begani baru. Okay, so these are the various ways in. So also we can show only the bhakta calling out in different ways. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you. So there is a saying in Sanskrit as well, which says that Guru Govind dono khade, take lagu n paए, balihari Guru aapne Govind diyo milai. So I will never ever be confused if my Guru and God is standing in front of me as to whose feet I would touch first. It would definitely be the one of my teacher or my Guru, because he or she leads me to God. And hence it was my gurus who I paid obeisance to. So we start with the first when we start the class, we always start with something called a namaskar, or the dance namaskar as we say. So I'll see whether I'm able to show the whole. So we just do this hey, stamp the feet, we look around, we touch the floor, we touch the eyes, we get up. The Anjali Mudra or the Namaskar Mudra on top is for the God or for the energy supreme, the Guru, and the audience. The significance of Namaskar is we don't touch anything with our feet, So the Namaskar is like telling Mother Earth that, look, I'm sorry and I'm paying respects to you. Thank you for supporting me. And this energy, of course, it's the God or the supreme consciousness, or the way we look at it is something almighty. Obeisance to that. Then obeisance to the Guru, because this is the Guru, this space, the Guru is the one who opens your mind's eye to knowledge and removes the darkness. And the audience, like right now it's you. Okay, so I pay respects to. Okay, so that's the significance of a namaskar. So we always start with a namaskar and end with a namaskar. So Bharatanatyam originated in Tamil Nadu. I mean, most of us know in South India, in the temples. So initially, it was a very a sacred form of worship. So the Devadasis, they were known as Devadasis, as the name suggests, servants of God. Deva, God, Dasi, servants. And it was like known as Shanti Kuda, meaning it was just a form of worship. There was no sort of any entertainment over there. And these village girls came from very respected families, and they were given given for the temple worship. And so since they were married to God, they would never be widowed all their life. And after some time, even respectable Brahmin girls and queens and princesses wanted to be Devadasis, or these girls in the temples. And because they were also trained in music, they were trained in dance, they were trained in the arts. And it was a very respectable form of art. And particularly during the Cholas, the rule of the Chola kings and the Pallava kings in South India, that was the time where the Devadasis, it was not yet known as Bharatanatyam, the Dasiyattam, it was held in such high respect. And they had the support of the kings and everyone, the village and the government at that time, if there was something like that. And so they were well supported in this art form. It was only later on that after a few years later that that there was this shift in the change in the dynastic rule, and these girls came to be known as the dance came to be known as Sadir, or dance of the not girls, as we call it. And so it went into disrepute, it went into doldrums. And it was only later on that Rukmini Devi, she was the pioneer, a name to remember. And today, if you are learning proper, codified, aesthetic, spiritual Bharatanatyam, it is because of Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundel and E. Krishna Iyer, who brought this art form, who revived this art form, sitting with all the Devadasis at that time who grew old, and they sort of codified the steps. So even the padams, or the abhinay, the expressional pieces, were cut off. The eroticism and the shringara, too much of overly use of the body was cut, so that it could be brought once again into a respectable repertoire. And so she sat with everybody, and then they codified the steps and the compositions. They talked to many poets and authors. So basically, the songs are in Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, South Indian languages, mostly Tamil. And so later on, she established Kalakshetra, and till date, we have this art form flourished and given more scope and encouragement. Now it is very different. Now it is like kind of a prestige issue. Oh, you have to learn one classical dance form, being an Indian. Okay. So in Bharatanatyam, we are full of gestures, the body, the mukhaja, that is the face, the hands, and the entire body. And now these expressions are, they are like there are small parts to lead to the final rasa. And so the body is one thing where we learn the hastas, and then we have to kind of imagine the character what we are portraying. So we need to go into the skin of the character, if it is a god or if it is a naika. And most importantly, the sattvika bhava, the feeling, the pure feeling, the purest feeling of understanding from deep within. Okay, so now when we say hasta, so we have something called shikara. Now I said thumbs up. So in Bharatanatyam we have this saying like, what is it, in asking what is it, or you're my lord. Like when I did the Guru shloka, I said Guru is like God. So this is it. So in our normal daily life, we also use gestures, right? So when I said give me a thumbs up, but in Bharatanatyam it is more stylized. That's the only difference. It's more stylized, and it's more aesthetic, and it's more structured. For example, you would say yes, thumbs up, and that would be like. But in Bharatanatyam, we would have to extend the body and raise the torso, and then look at the eye. And depends what we are showing. If you're showing God, it will be like, oh God, oh my God, in that sense. And if it is a naika or the lover or the husband, it would be. And if you're asking somebody, what is it? Just like that, what is it? So it's stylized. That the only difference is stylized. So we all move. Actually, all of us are dancers. The only thing is I'm trained, and you are not trained in Bharatanatyam, but we all move. Okay. So this is about the language of gestures. And so there is this there is the first shloka after all these initial rituals like the namaskara and the touching of the guru's feet. We learn the first shloka, which kind of gives us, a step by step. It's called Kram, Natya Kram, where the order in which, whether it's a performance or whether it's the kind of training that we are going to be initiated into. So the shloka goes like this: Yato hasta, that is where my hand goes, tato drishti. Can you do it with me? So yato hasta, come on, let's try. Yeah, yato hasta, tato drishti. Means where my hand goes, there goes my eye. Beautiful. Thank you so much, all of you. Yato hasta tato drishti, yato drishti, where goes my eye? Tato manaha, there is my mind. Yato manas, where is the mind is? Tato bhava, there comes my expression. And yato bhava, so my bhava comes on my face. Tato rasa, there is the happiness. So I'll explain it a little in detail. Thank you so much, all of you. Okay, yato hasta, tato drishti, yato drishti, tato manaha, yato manas, tato bhava, yato bhavas, tato rasa. It simply means that where, I'll explain, where my hand goes, there goes my eye, where there is the eye, my drishti, it's my mind, and where my mind, it's the bhava, the expression. So my expression we show here because it comes from the heart, and from the heart it comes on my face, and from my face my entire being is filled with joy, and also that joy is being shared. So I'm the vehicle which is in between, I mean, the audience and me and the musician. Okay. So yeah, so finally it's all about joy. It's not about the body. So many people say, oh, so Bharatanatyam has a shelf life. You have to start young and then at the age of 25, 30, like a sport. No, no, no. So Bharatanatyam is not about the body. It's about the mind. It's about the soul. So a little later, like my gurus who are 82 and 90, they're still dancing. That is because the dance has transcended, so we become the dance. We become the dance. And so once you're on the stage, there is something that takes over. There is a certain amount of spiritual energy, and the music, and the costumes, and everything, the lights, and of course the dancers being. Of course, we can make out who is a good. There are good dancers, and there are not so good dancers. So what my teachers always say is that you can wear the best of costume and you can look so beautiful on the stage, but if your dance is not touching the last person seated on the 500th row, if you're not able to have that conversation, then you're not a good dancer. In the sense that you should touch everyone who's sitting in the audience, whether they are aware of classical dance. So your body is the madhyam, it is the instrument by which you are conveying your expressions, your feelings, your emotions to the highest intensity. You may even wear a simple cotton sari and a little not done so much, but and at the same time your heart has touched everyone, and you can wear the most expensive temple jewelry, the tale saman, and if you're like always like that and this is me and all that, then your dance is of no, it's just a body show. So that's the difference. So every time you have to go within and say, is my dance really having that kind of communication with the audience? Am I really able to move them? Am I really able to convey to them? Am I really being able to kind of see whether they're enjoying? They may not know the form at all, but somewhere, sometime. I remember one, not to sound immodest, but I remember once when I was doing Krishna Nibegane Baru, where the gopi, where Mother Yashoda is calling out to Krishna, and so I just threw like water on him, and she's saying, I really felt that one drop came on me. So I mean, I'm saying this is the kind of impression that you leave the audiences with. And so there are many people who say, you know, classical dance is like that, it's so difficult to understand, and we normal people. But I don't think so. It is the way you convey. So through the anchoring, through the music, through the explanation, through the compositions, and through your sadhana, your practice into the art form, that makes this difference. I'm taking questions which I have always been asked before, so I thought I took it for granted you two would ask me the same thing. Okay, so yeah, so this is a little bit about you know, how this art form is basically is, and its history and the hand gestures. So it's completely with the body movement. So you have all the hands. So we have something called, you know, say for example, there are many hand gestures like pataka, tripataka, ardhapataka, kartarimukha, mayura, and so many. But these hand gestures will just become hand gestures if the feeling and the bhava doesn't go along with it, or it's not in sync. For example, let me take pataka, which is flag, and it has many uses. So it can be Natyarambe, that is the beginning of dance. So when I say beginning of dance, I'm ready. So I'm smiling, my eyes are lit up, and I'm acknowledging that there is audience there, not looking at them like that, but just so Natyarambe, that is beginning of dance. Vari Vahe, clouds. So I have to feel the cloud. I cannot just say Vari Vahe. This will not mean cloud. But if I show cloud as in something light that is up there in the sky, Vari Vahe. Then saying be quiet. Or saying I will, you know, or saying no. So if the feeling has to be connected with the action, otherwise it doesn't come in sync. Okay. For example, when we say, let me ask you, when we say, all of you use this sometimes, right? Yeah. So when we say, oh wow, Vaishali, you're looking good. Shruti, for example, ah, kya baat hai? Or in South India, we'll say, nanna irka, romba nanna irka. So, but in Bharatanatyam, so you're using it, but in Bharatanatyam, you have this hamsasya. So it will be like very stylized. This, so it will be used in different contexts. So this will be nice. It can be, this is the time. So the heroine is questioning the hero, where were you? Is this the time to come? Depends on the emotion and the feeling. The hand gesture changes. Oh wow! It can even be used like a little sarcastically. Nice. Okay. This also. Now all that has to match. As why I'm saying this is because sometimes I tell my students, I said, you know, they say, but teacher, I didn't mean this. But I said, but your feeling was not matching your action. You must have meant it, but you were not conveying it in the manner it was supposed to. So all the time to be in touch with that, and then the hastas come out properly. Because first only if you say, you try to use the outward gestures without going within, then it doesn't come out the way it is meant to. And when we talk of Bharatanatyam, it is divided, like we break it up into three parts: Bhavam, Ragam, Talam, and that is the premise on which the performance of Bharatanatyam basically is a very short explanation. So Bhavam, as I just explained, is the feeling. And the feeling, the expression which you feel from within. There are two ways you can feel. You can feel it by just imagination. So I remember my older gurus used to say, you know, we Bharatanatyam dancers or classical dancers, we're the luckiest people on the earth. We can imagine what we want. We can imagine where we want to go. We can imagine we are the bird. We can imagine we are the peacock. We can imagine you're a beautiful Naika, whatever. So it can be, there can be imagination and an experience, and you can combine both. For example, for Vatsalya Bhava, you need not be a mother to show Vatsalya Bhava or to feed the child. But you can also have that experience and say, oh, how was it like when, you know, when I was feeding my child? So it can be both. So we combine these experiences, life's experiences, to give that expression. So bhavam is very important, and all that will come on the face only when we feel it from within. Okay. So that also requires practice. Otherwise, it becomes very mechanical and very superficial. Ragam is the melody. So we have music. So like this normal sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, and then we have combination of these notes. So I do a very small thing, just for children to understand what is ragam. So I say sa, so water, sa, re, the fish, ga, so the birds, ma, the flower, the bees. Pa, dha, ni, sa. So when it comes in the story, it will be the fish in the water, the birds in the sky, and the bees around the flowers. So it will go like sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. So there's no simple notes, but we have to show. So the expression of the fish is different from the bird in the sky and to the bees. So everything has a different, but the notes, a simple note. There's no story saying the fish is in the water, the birds are in the sky. It's just the notes which is taking that flight. So when you say sa, so you get that water, sa, re, ga, so you get that flight, ma, pa, da. So you'll understand it when you show. So when I have my musicians with me, I have a very great violinist. He'll give you that there's a bee around, with the violin. He'll create that expression. Yeah, and talam is of course is the beat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's got 35 talas and so many. So the combat, the rhythm. So bhavam, ragam, talam. Talam is the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So the beat is very important. So one of the basic things which our teachers always tell us is that you can not, you have to achieve accomplishment in everything. You should be good in everything, your bhavam, ragam, talam. But if the talam goes wrong, that's one of the biggest, what should I say, curse that a teacher can say, what you are doing, betal. So even when in normal life, you look at people, even if they are not trained dancers, you say, oh wow, she walks so nicely. She's got some rhythm in her. But with us dancers, so that rhythm is the basic thing. So for us, sometimes when we are just in normal life, we cannot even walk. Walk normally, we walk like dancers. So there our teacher tells us, no. In normal life, you walk normally. But when you're on the stage, till you finish that entry exit also, till you go inside the wing, no one is looking at you. Till then, you need to hold that rhythm. Don't just reach that wing and then run away. And then from one corner, people are sorry, she ran inside so ungraceful. Yeah, so this is about bhavam, ragam, talam, which explains what this entire, um, you know, of course, we have a lot of compositions, and then we start with the shloka, and the Bharatanatyam Margam is like normally 45 minutes, where 1 hour 45 minutes, sometimes 1.5 hours, where a lot of people, there is starting with the smaller items, and then it reaches. So, as Bala Saraswati said, that the Bharatanatyam composition is like entering into a temple. So it's Alaripu is the small, first you enter, you just enter that long, you just see the step, and then you climb all the steps, and then there's a long hall, so Jatiswaram, and then you go inside down, and then you just get a view of the god, the lord, the goddess, and then you go down in the Garbhagriha, that is the sanctum sanctorum, and that is, you go within with the Shanti mantra. So it is as equivalent as you entering a temple, and then your incense and banging of the cymbals or clanging of the cymbals is like reaching out to that, calling out to God. Finally, you feel that you've experienced him or her or whatever, the energy, and then you go within in the sanctum sanctorum. So that is the feeling there, and then you end with a shloka. So it starts with a prayer and ends with a prayer, and in between what you do is all the rituals. So it's like just a step forward to reaching that God that you yearn for or thirst for. So this is called Gejje. Gejje in Kannada means bells. And so this is the normal gungrus look like this. So you have all this you can hear. And we have something called a Gejje Puja, where it's a big thing when the guru blesses the geje and gives it to you, and you're dancing with those bells. So this is the Kamar Patta. So we have two types of jewelry. One is imitation, and one is pure temple, which is made of gold and silver. So this is the simple one, which has the Lakshmi on it, and then we put it here on our waist. And so we have the plait. So you need not have long hair. So you tie a bun like this, and then the hair comes like this, and it's very neatly tied. And then you have these little decorations here, just to see that the black is not like flat, you know. So it looks very beautiful when you kind of have this, and then you are like, or say suppose it comes very handy when you do a Naika and show all those little nakras. I like that part. I still do. Okay, and then and just above the plait, you have this. It's called rakodi. So can you see? Yeah. So, and then you have this entire plait coming from there. So there it's so it takes almost like 1 hour for makeup, only makeup of the face with the eyes and everything. And it takes another hour for the hair. And then it takes another half an hour maybe for the costume. And then you have one flower on top like this. And then you have another one like this, in the middle. So it's all flowers, depends. So I can't show much here, but yeah. And then this is the, of course, the bangles are like normal, depends on the color. So there is something like this, like what I'm wearing. So like this is also outside the temples you get in Mylapore. All our shopping is like the authentic ones, we get it from Chennai. And so these are the jhumkas. So I've also worn something like, not exactly the performance ones, but somewhere close to that. These are the jimiki, we call it, if you can see. That's a pair. And then from the jimiki, we add, we have this martel, it is called, and then that is attached to this jimiki. And the most important, of course, we have a long mala. Okay, so just a moment, please. Okay, so this is the Talei Saman. So you have this entire thing here, and it's all pinned up. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, and it's called the Talei Saman. And then you have a small choker. This is also one necklace, and then a long one. And then you have, to cover the bindi, it's like here you have Chandra Surya. Okay, so you can imagine, and of course in the fingers we have big rings, which is like this. So we are all decked up, and so the reason why I actually continued initially was to wear all of this, and then I realized this will only make sense and will look good if only I practice my dance. So both ways. Yeah, so that was about the costume. And of course the sari is like, people wonder, oh, how do you do that blouse and that fan, and what is it? So it's one sari, which is, of course, the blouse is sometimes from some other material, depends on the combination. Then we have one sari. So there are two patterns. It's the pant costume and it's the sari costume. So you have I couldn't get that today, sorry about it. And then you have a fan and then a middle fan. So patterns have changed now. Initially costumes were very different. Now it's like good, I mean, nice. What I only believe is that whatever is traditional, in the sense, like my teachers are very particular that you don't wear a bun like this and dance. And she says, you look like a bai. I mean, I like to listen to all my teachers. So they say you have to wear that flat and with all that. It has to be traditional. In that, you can have patterns different, but have everything in its place. The rings, the bangles, the tale, saman, and don't do any shortcut. The costume should be nice. Your blouse should be right inside. No skin showing over there, even if you have a very good figure. No tying your your gadget, the dance bells, you wear a nice thick pile around it so that the ankle doesn't look plain. Otherwise, so there is this, what I really appreciate is like so much of beauty in and so much of thought. So before we wear the gadget, we wear this around our feet. So when the leg goes a little up, sometimes, so the pile covers this and that looks nice, and this bell on top of it. So it's nice. It looks beautiful. And then we have the alta, that is the red. Now people do markers, they put red markers, which is not good. Or worst comes to worst, we use mehndi. There's all our traditional gurus sitting there will not be happy. They'll be like, what is this? Fine. But so we try to please everyone and get our altas from wherever. Sometimes from Bengal, Calcutta, the traditional alta. Yes, the bindi is also this one that I'm wearing, a slightly bigger one with a little dot. And there also they don't like these the traditional. This is the traditional one, not the one with you get these big fashionable ones with those long flames and all. No, 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 nothing of that sort. Yeah. So and one more thing I would like to add is a lot of changes have come from then to now. But as long as we cut corners in the traditional parameters, our teachers don't have any problem. But if we kind of really do, like when we see so much of murder of Bharatanatyam, like it's very sad that so many teachers have maintained this parampara, and people just wear costumes and then just do anything. And uh, even sometimes we wear the gungroos and we are getting ready for a performance, and because of the nervousness, children want to go to the washroom, so we have to remove the gungroos and go to the washroom, not wear the chappals when you're having, whether it is a small thing. So yeah, so this is also a very deep study into not just history, aesthetics, but just enhancing every part of your personality, seeing beauty in everything, taking beauty from everything, taking experiences, because Bharatanatyam is not cut off from life. Our teachers used to tell us, go out there into the garden, see how that bird is flying, see how that swan is drinking water, and see how that frog's eyes are like that. See how the rooster is just the neck. So we have these neck movements. So this is Sundari, like the dancer. Then the snake would be like that. So go see a snake. Now everything is on Google. So we have to tell our students, go Google it. So when you see a butterfly, okay, we'll see it on Google. I said, see, if you can go to a butterfly park, or if you can go to a bird watch, see how the crane is standing on one leg. No, no, teacher, I'll Google it. I'll Google it. So today, that is what we face. A little bit of disconnect. Sunrise, they will see it on Google, but we would like to see the sunrise outside from our window. So that's only a challenge that we have, to bring our kids more connected with what they have to stay connected. Yeah, so this is Krishnani Begani Baru, where it's a Kannada song and a very famous song written by Purandara Dasa. And what I like about this Padam, it's called Padam, where the song where you can use different interpretations, where it can be Yashoda calling Krishna, it can be Gopi calling Krishna, it can be Gopa calling Krishna, it can be the Bhakta calling Krishna. Only thing what changes is as I said, the feeling, So I will just show it in different ways, and but here also it is like your interpretation of reaching out to God, or you feel God reaching out to you. We always do these rituals, or go to temples, or wherever, churches and our places of worship, thinking that there's a God there, but there's never a God there. The God is here. But yes, we do like to do those rituals so that it gets us into that feeling, or whatever it takes to kind of, have that from within. And there is also a very beautiful song which says, Vishveshwara Darshana Dijo, Chalo Mana Tuma Kashi. Means you don't have to go to Kashi to find that. So let your mind be Kashi. So create that Kashi in your mind. Sometimes you can be in so much of clutter, so much around you in today's world, but still you can be peaceful. You can be traveling in a train and all that noise is going, but still Kashi is your man. You don't have to go to, you can still go to Kashi, spending so much of money, doing all that, whatever, sadhana, seva, and still you may not find that peace. So here also, Krishna ni vegane baro, so the Bhakta is calling in different ways. So here I will show the Bhakta, how the Bhakta is calling. Like, so, Krishna ni vegane baro, calling out to the Lord. Now Yashoda is calling out to Krishna. Krishna ni vegane baro. Another version where where Radha is calling out to Krishna. Krishna ni begane baro. So she expects him to put that, the hook of that mala around. And Gopa, or Krishna's friend, Krishna ni begane baro. Okay, so these are the various ways in. So also we can show only the Bhakta calling out in different ways, or in the same composition, Krishna, we can show all these people, and that speaks about the expertise of the dancers. It will really be very good in showing these different characters, or rather, yeah, characters calling out to Krishna. Not one should overlap the other. I remember I did this once in front of my teacher for Guru Purnima, and she said, where was Gopa then? And why? So the expressions they'll ask is, so you have to be very, very dexterous in that. So yeah, so I leave you with these few pearls of wisdom that I have acquired from my teachers.
I wanted to know that I belong to North India, and here, an old saying that in Punjab the only culture you have is agriculture, because of a long history of centuries of war and marauders coming through this route. We really don't have that kind of time for to spend 20 years learning an art, learning a performing art. So our dances and all are like, bhangra and all are like warrior dances, more or less. They're full of energy and all. So one is, yeah. And second, the ramification, the modern postmodern ramification of it is fusion. We just pick up everything and we call it dance. So in Bharatanatyam, do you see that kind of adulteration happening? Fusion dance and all, like you did say that there are people just doing something, but I would like you to speak about this.
Sure, sure. Thank you for asking me this question. And this is very close to my heart actually, because I talk a lot about these to my kids, to my students, and I have students with me like from the age of 4 and 5. I literally mothered them, you can say, and today they are married, they have kids. And my only thing is like, whether you're able to continue physically or whether you're not, I see to it that I initiate it into the right way, there's a lot, because, a lot of people tell me, not me, because when people come for my performances, not my performances, my students' performances, they all enjoy, they say, Bare Dale, like in Konkani, it's well done and all. So I cater to that interest and see, because I feel that you have to raise the bar. We have to raise the bar, and I will go deep within to see whether I'm able to, communicate to my audiences. They really like the program. I've never seen somebody, of course they may just give feedback about light or something like that, but the quality of my music, I have the best of musicians. The quality of my compositions, I have like gems of compositions, because all my teachers are like Padma Bhushans and Vibhushans, so there's no way I go wrong. And even if I do a very small shloka, like today, I was telling all my teachers, like, Akka, teacher, I'm doing this today, give me your blessings. And I said, oh, you will do very well, I know, but we know what you will talk. And so I don't have that, that fear, because the purity is so much that they have given it to me like a gem. I know how my teachers have struggled. They have left their homes just to learn a composition, how much money was involved, the physicality of it. There's so much. So there is that happening. But when I teach it to my students that, look, you should be able to identify what is proper, what is pure, the traditional parameters, keep it. Don't adjust saying that, oh, they want masala at the end. So let us do some Bollywood something. Bollywood is good in its own way. All forms of expression are, you can do what, even Bhangra is good. It is a nice, vibrant art form. But I can't mix Bhangra and Bharatanatyam. And people, come, come, come. If you're coming, Sachika, to Punjab, let's do something half Bharatanatyam. No, I will do a half an hour proper Bharatanatyam, and maybe since I'm coming to Punjab, you can do a Bhangra to welcome me. That's fine. But these things happen, and a lot of these shows and all where we are still struggling with a little bit of everything, and our students, they say, teacher, on that stage, that show, that girl was wearing costume, what she was doing. So I say, at least you know what to associate with, you know what not to associate with. So at least that understanding, if we give to our kids, I think it's more than enough. But it happens, yes, it's there everywhere. And in Goa, like, they'll say, that's like, no, 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 you're coming, you give me a time, I'll perform half an hour, not more than that. But don't tell me in the last you do something like, something which is like fusion, confusion. No, I will stick to Bharatanatyam. You reduce my time. I will see that in that small time, I will catch the audience appeal. I perform in so many places. I perform even lecture demonstrations in hotels. I'm not against the premise of the hotel. I only say, don't drink and eat. Just pay attention 15 minutes. 15. I can do it. But give me that respect and give me that attention. After that, you go to eat and drink and you do what you want. I have no problem.
One question from me. Besides, continuing with the adulteration, there's also some strife between different forms of dance, actually. When I was learning as a child, my dance teacher, the Bharatanatyam dance teacher, she was like, Kathak has originated as in the courts of the kings as courtesans. So she used to look down upon Kathak. And I've seen my friend who was studying Kathak, her teacher used to look down upon Bharatanatyam. So why is this happening? Why can't, it doesn't happen with the masters. Among the common people, there's a lot of animosity between the two exponents. Why is that?
See, from my knowledge and my, understanding and my experience, so I have also learned a little bit of Kathak later on in life. Okay. Initially, it was only Bharatanatyam, and even after I did my masters, because all my friends in Pune University were all Kathak dancers, and in Pune it was only Kathak and Bharatanatyam, nothing else. But I've attended workshops of Kelucharan Mahapatra, Sonal Mansingh, Leela Sampson, and my teachers were at that time, see, now you know, you're molded in the form. It's like learning a new language. You want to learn it for your joy, for your knowledge, and my gurus gave me full permission. But I went with their permission, saying that, look, I won't adulterate Bharatanatyam if I'm learning Kathak or Mohiniyattam. So I learned little of all the classical dance styles just to see. Yeah, I have heard also these comments, like, Kathak ka hai? What is Kathak? It is tablavar nachna, means it's like dancing on a tabla. And what is something, or Mohiniyattam is very slow. Now, when you have somebody make a comment like this, I think it reflects the scholarship of a person. I mean, I really wouldn't say something like that, because yes, I may just do Mohiniyattam just to understand what the basic ABC is. That's it. I'll not claim to do. I have a friend who's a very beautiful Mohiniyattam dancer, and she did Bharatanatyam MA with. She was my senior, and she's teaching and perform. She's only teaching Bharatanatyam, not performing Bharatanatyam. She performs only Mohiniyattam. She has got students who assist her. She say, I don't think I'll be able to do justice to that form because I'm born and brought up in Mohiniyattam. Okay, I've heard all these comments. What is that Kathak? It's like this and like that. It's not true because now also Kathak. That I was just talking to my students just yesterday. There is something like Bolly Kathak, some Bollywood thing and something. No, Kathak also has its traditional repertoire, its traditional margam. The Maharaji and his uncles and his gurus, they have codified it and really put it, given it a nice, beautiful thing. For example, from the little Kathak that I know, Kathak, for example, we have all these, but the hastas are very, soft. Bharatanatyam is like very Natya Dharmi, and the Kathak is Loka Dharmi. So like that. And even like if you are showing the palla, it is like very loose and open, very, very light, and the hastas are not very like Bharatanatyam, very Natya Dharmi. Coming to this animosity, I have seen performances where, like different classical dancers and teachers sharing their experiences, on a common platform and sharing the similarities and differences between each style. And each one is different. And it's like chalk and cheese. You can't say Kathak is better than Bharatanatyam, Bharatanatyam is better than no. There's nothing like that. Each style is beautiful. It depends upon you as the instrument of presentation, how you present as far as your theoretical background, as far as your technical training, and as far as your experience in the field. Animosity may be there. There are few people who say, what is Bharatanatyam, leg spin, but it's not true. I have done Tatkar for, it's as difficult. If you say Kathak is easy, because in Bharatanatyam we have that sitting posture, unusual Arai Mandi, that's square. Yes, and it's tough, no doubt. But initially we train into that. And Kathak, some people say it's very easy. There's nothing like that. These are all myths.
What is the basic difference between Kathak form, Bharatnatyam, Kathakali, Mohiniyattam, etc.? If you can just throw some light upon the differences between these dance forms.
Yeah, so these are all different dance forms from different parts of the country, originated in different parts of the country. Their stylistic differences, as in when I say the like Bharatanatyam has got the Natya Aramandi. Then the costumes are different, the music is different, and most of the time it's like influenced by the state from which it comes from. Okay, so Bharatanatyam in Tamil originated in Tamil Nadu, so the temples, it originated in the temples. The language is South Indian, and then you have the Karana, so the movements which are really like those postures. And Odissi, of course, from Orissa. So you have these, the temple, like those those dancers, so the body is like the upper body, it's all on the upper body, that it's the most, sensuous dance form. Then Kathak, it originated in North India. So you have the Hindustani music, and it's mostly in Hindi, like the Braj Hindi. And Mohiniyattam again from Kerala. So, the Mohiniyattam, they wear that white costume with the gold border and the bun on the side. And then it's such a slow movement. It's like the coconut palms of Kerala, like that. And the form is so beautiful, but it's slow. Bharatanatyam is medium pace. Kathak is like, more on the pirouettes, the turns, the chakkars as they call it. And tatkar, that's your footwork, whatever. So it's more of upper body movement and the footwork which you concentrate on. Kuchipudi is the one which originated in Andhra Pradesh. So you have again the same, almost like it's like a sister style of Bharatanatyam. Only thing that sari has like a dhoti type behind. You have like that. What do you call it? Like the nawari this behind, and then dance on the plate. I don't know if you've seen that. So that's Kuchipudi. And what else? I talked about Odissi from Orissa. So the music is different. It has a little bit of Carnatic. Even Odissi is considered to be a sister style of Bharatanatyam, but not, this is a distant sister, not a very close sister. So Kathakali is basically danced by males. Again from Kerala, you have them with those elaborate, thick makeup. And in Kathakali, mostly only men dance. And even if it is a ladies' lady's role, it's only a male dance because it's like a very, you know, intricate and vigorous. Even the what you say, the technique is like so difficult. Like, you know, we all have flat foot in Bharatanatyam, and even Chauka in Odissi, and Pakshasta in, what do you call that, in Kathak, V shape. It's all flat, and here they have to like literally stand like that and all.
You showed us all the jewelry. Is there any, I mean, the Chandra and the
Surya.
Surya on the forehead, does it represent the universe in your head or something like that? Or what is the significance of all these jewelry that you showed us? Is there any philosophy behind it?
Not really, but yes, the Chandra Surya, this is just to enhance the beauty, it's just the Tale Saman, and so that the head doesn't look plain. And
Acha.
Chandra Surya is just like like how in yoga you have the hot and the cold. So it just that balances, you know, it balances the hot. So Chandra is always on the left side, and Surya is on the right side. So even sometimes girls get confused, then they do Chandra Surya. So then accordingly, so even if you put Surya on the other side, and it's wrong. You can't do that. You have to very strictly put Chandra on one side, Surya on the right. But they just say that that brings the balance, and if you interchange, there would be an imbalance. So we did question that because we did it, and so I guess we found the balance.
If we want to start learning classical dance, because I'm also from the North India, and as Aparna very rightly said, there's no culture but agriculture, and Bhangra and Gidda are more warrior dances.
Yes.
So I really want to know that if we want to start learning, then which is the easiest form of classical dance to start off with, which can be finished off, faster, and for somebody who knows nothing about classical dance. The second part is the therapeutic aspect of classical dance. Does it help in catharsis or therapy for any physical or emotional or mental ailment?
The first one you're saying is which is an easy dance to start off. Okay. So broadly, I would say nothing is easy to start off. But what I would say is that whatever is available to you. Sometimes, you know, if you're in North India, like a place like Jaipur or Lucknow, Kathak is more prevalent there. You know, so go to a class which is giving you that training. I would say I still maintain that nothing is easy. Classical dances are not easy, and but they are very interesting, and it's deeply rooted in culture. And as I explained, aestheticism, the spiritual growth, the body beauty, the stamina, the physique, generally, you know, and overall, if it answers your second question, that it is therapeutic, no doubt, you know, and it is like a real great form of catharsis. Um, but I wouldn't say anything is easy to start off. Whatever is available to you, and then create that interest to like it. You know, you should have good teachers. Fortunately, I was really blessed with good teachers who kind of, you know, kept that flame burning in me. Like really hard work, you sit in that position, and your back starts paining, and you could give reasons like, you know, not to do a dance class. But you should also see the expertise and the experience and the qualification and the merit, I would say, of a teacher. You know, a teacher should have that. Like you have to be like a mother to your kids. You have to, you know, you after the dance, after the mother at home, you are the next one over there. So as giving my experiences, like, you know, like I can say I'm a mother to so many. I'm a grandmother. So many of them have had babies. They want to study. So like I've had a grandmother, mother, and granddaughter studying with me. So it is all sometimes convenience where you are. All dance forms are good. Like my friends, she was in Kerala, she learned Mohiniyattam. Then she came to Pune, she learned Bharatanatyam. But she had the base of a classical art form, which helped her imbibe another art form. But stay in one particular learning initially, you know, because otherwise the child gets mixed up and you're just molding. So first 5 years. So normally we start 7 years, 7 years for any classical. So what I do is I also have a pre-basic, like I in Marathi they say kilbil varga, like chote chote bachon ka. So I used to do 3 years, 4 years, just telling them stories about Krishna, just showing them hastas of Krishna, just telling, showing them little movements, singing bhajans, so that they are initiated. Okay, what is coming? But not starting the technique because their bones and body is very tender. But the technical age to start any learning is 7 years. And then there is no end to learning.
Professionally, if a child wants to pursue classical dance or performing arts in any way, what are the career options they still have in India? Because we have destroyed our arts.
Yeah. So there are many. So career options. One is you could be a teacher. You could be a teacher of classical dance. And so I know of many. My teachers are only teaching. Then there are performers. So performance also you can have. These these rigorous performances for quite some time. And after some time, like one of my teachers, she only does Abhinay performances. She's only an Abhinay performer. So that is another option. Then there is research, which is another option. Then now many schools have started classical, like Bharat. Here in Goa we have Kathak and Bharatanatyam. So there are many students, they do this basic course and then they do those exams and then they have a minimal qualification and then they are roped in by the art and culture departments. They become principals of art and culture organizations. They are teaching in schools which are with a definite salary. So many of my students are teaching in schools. Then in Goa, we don't have a performing art faculty, but so many parts of the country there are. Pune there is, Bombay there is, then Chennai there is, Baroda there is, Ahmedabad there is. It depends on what is available to you. But the best is career is teaching option.
Satika, one last query again from Tanya. She says, how about joining our online class? What is your opinion about online classes that are taking place?
Okay, I am very hesitant to start it for beginners, whether it's a 3-year-old and 4-year-old or a beginner who has just not done any sort of art. I'm a little hesitant.